My wife made a private group chat mocking me. I saw everything. I never expected to be one of those people, the ones who come to Reddit to air out personal drama like it's a soap opera. But here I am, and I don't even know where else to go right now. Maybe this will help me figure things out, or maybe I just need someone to tell me I'm not crazy. I'm 32, and I've been married to my wife, Amy, who's 29, for a little over 3 years. We were together for 2 years before that, so 5 years total. On the outside, everything probably looked great. We both have stable jobs. I work in marketing. She's a nurse. We bought a nice house just outside of Denver last year. Nothing fancy, but enough to make us feel like real adults. We have a golden retriever named Milo who gets more affection than I do lately. And if you looked at our Instagram pages, you'd think we were the type of couple that spends weekends hiking and laughing over wine. It was curated happiness, and for a while, it even felt real. But something shifted about 6 months ago. Subtle things at first. The way she stopped asking about my day. How she'd nod during conversations but clearly wasn't listening. Less eye contact. More time on her phone. A different kind of laugh when she was texting, not the amused chuckle I used to hear when we joked around together, but the kind of laugh you make when you're in on something exclusive, something private. I tried to brush it off. Everyone hits dry patches. Life gets busy. Work is exhausting. Maybe she was just stressed. But that nagging feeling wouldn't go away. Something in her energy changed. I'd reach for her hand on the couch and she'd flinch like I startled her. We used to have inside jokes. Now it felt like I was the joke. One night, after we got into a stupid argument over how I cooked the chicken too dry, I sat in the living room and stared at the wall for half an hour after she went to bed. My brain wouldn't shut off. And I did something I swore I'd never do. I checked her phone. She had fallen asleep with it on the nightstand. I know her passcode. It's her sister's birthday. Always has been. I felt disgusting even typing it in, like I was violating trust. But I needed to know. I wasn't looking for cheating, not exactly. I just wanted to know what had changed. At first I didn't see anything. Her texts with friends looked normal. Her Instagram DMs were mostly memes. I even checked her email. Then I saw an old app, GroupMe. I hadn't seen her use that in years. She used to use it in college for sorority stuff. But I thought that part of her life was long gone. Out of curiosity, I opened it. There was one active group chat. It was called Stuff My Husband Says, Clown Edition. There were 6 people in it: Amy, her sister Rachel, 2 coworkers I recognized, Becca and Jenna, and 2 names I didn't know. I stared at the screen for a full minute before opening the chat. I knew it was bad before I read a single message. Just the title alone knocked the air out of me. The first post I saw was a screenshot of a text I had sent her the night before. I had written something like, "I miss the way we used to laugh. I hope we're okay." It had taken a lot for me to send that. I thought we were just growing apart and maybe she didn't realize how distant she'd been. I genuinely wanted to reconnect. Amy had captioned the screenshot with, "He's in his feelings again. Someone give this man a participation trophy." Her sister responded with, "He's so sensitive, it's exhausting." Becca added, "You married a golden retriever with a superiority complex." Amy again, "He keeps talking about quality time like I'm not working 10-hour shifts. Dude, I'm tired, not emotionally distant." They went on. They mocked the way I talk too much when I'm nervous. They made fun of my sourdough baking hobby, calling me bread daddy. They even joked about my receding hairline. Amy had secretly snapped a photo of the back of my head and captioned it, "Plot twist. He's going bald in 4K. But the worst was a video. She had recorded me singing while doing the dishes. It was some ridiculous 90s song I was half mocking. I thought I was being silly, playful. The caption said, "How do I divorce this without losing half my stuff?" That one hit like a punch to the chest. I sat on the edge of our bed and scrolled for a long time. There were weeks of messages. None of it was light teasing. It was cruel, calculated. I saw how often she laughed at me behind my back. Every time I had tried to be sweet or vulnerable or honest, it had become fuel for their entertainment. I didn't wake her up. I didn't throw the phone across the room. I didn't even cry. I just sat there and stared at the screen like I was watching a car crash in slow motion. I couldn't stop reading. The next morning, she acted like everything was normal, slightly annoyed at how strong I made the coffee. Then off to work like nothing had happened. I smiled. I said, "Love you," when she walked out the door. I even scratched Milo behind the ears and gave him a treat. Routine helps. Routine hides things. But I screenshotted everything and sent it to my own email. Every message, every insult, every post. That was 2 weeks ago. I haven't confronted her yet. I've been sleeping next to someone who clearly doesn't respect me. maybe doesn't even like me, and I'm just sitting on it, letting it simmer. Maybe I'm a coward, or maybe I'm just waiting to make the right move. I don't know what comes next, but when I figure it out, I'll post again. I spent the next few days walking through life like I was watching myself on a screen. Everything felt surreal. Amy would talk about her day, complain about her boss, ask what we should order for dinner, and I'd nod along like I wasn't sitting on a bombshell. She had no idea what I knew. At work, I wasn't much better. My performance slipped. I missed deadlines. During meetings, I'd catch myself zoning out. My boss, who's normally pretty chill, pulled me aside on Friday and asked if everything was okay. I lied, of course. Said I wasn't sleeping well, blamed stress. He offered to reduce my workload for a week, which I accepted, but I could tell he was watching me. What was I supposed to say? Hey, my wife secretly made a group chat to mock me, and now I don't know if I'm a joke or a husband. Not really HR friendly. I didn't tell anyone at first. Not my parents, not my friends. I didn't want pity. I didn't want the standard lines. You deserve better. She doesn't love you. Leave her. I wanted clarity. I wanted something cleaner. But by the fourth night, I cracked and called my older brother, Nate. Nate's the kind of guy who always tells you the truth, even when it's ugly. He's a mechanic, has 2 kids, divorced once, remarried. He picks up the phone with a grunt, like he already knows someone's about to drop bad news on him. I told him everything, from the change in Amy's behavior to checking her phone to the group chat. I even forwarded him some of the screenshots. He didn't say anything for a while. Finally, he asked, "You want to leave her, or make her pay?" That question stuck with me, because I didn't know the answer. Both, I said. He chuckled, but it wasn't amused. Then don't blow it yet. Let her keep thinking you don't know. That's your leverage. If you're smart, you can control the narrative. We talked for an hour. He helped me come up with a plan. Step 1 was obvious. Lawyer up, quietly. I started by consulting with a friend of his who specialized in family law. He told him I wasn't ready to file, just wanted to know my options. He explained the basics: property division, spousal support, how her behavior could factor into proceedings if I had evidence, which I did. He advised me to avoid confrontation until I had my ducks in a row. Step 2, protect my finances. I opened a new checking account and started redirecting a portion of my paycheck there. Nothing huge, just enough to build a little buffer. I also changed all my passwords and backed up important documents. If things got ugly, I wanted to be prepared. Step 3, let her keep talking. I knew she was still using the group chat. I checked it a few more times when she was asleep. The tone had shifted, slightly less mocking, more annoyed. She was complaining that I'd become weirdly quiet and clingy. Becca wrote, "He probably senses something's up," Amy replied. "If he does, he's too much of a pussy to say anything." That one hurt, but it also confirmed something. She wasn't just cruel, she was cocky. So I leaned into the act. I became the perfect husband, brought home flowers, made her coffee, asked about her day with genuine interest, offered to take Milo on more walks so she could relax. She started acting warmer again, probably thinking I was just going through a weird phase. She had no idea I was building a case against her. Then came the opportunity I wasn't expecting. Her birthday. She was turning 30 and wanted to throw a small party at our place. Nothing huge, just her close friends and family. Normally, I would have dreaded it, but this time, I saw a chance. I offered to help plan it. I booked catering, cleaned the house, even ordered a custom cake with her favorite design. She was thrilled. "You're really making up for that dry chicken," she joked one night, and I laughed like I hadn't been mentally detaching from our marriage for weeks. Nate helped me set up a discreet audio system. We hid a tiny Bluetooth mic near the patio, where most of the guests would hang out. I paired it with my phone, hit record, and made sure I mingled inside during most of the event. Amy, true to form, eventually drifted out there with her sister and Becca. I stayed in the kitchen, refilling drinks and pretending not to notice. A few hours later, I slipped into the bathroom, saved the recording and sent it to myself. When I listened to it that night, I felt like I was going to throw up. Amy was drunk, so was Rachel. Becca too, and they were loud, laughing, mocking me again, making fun of the dumb husband act, wondering if I was finally catching on. At one point, Rachel asked, "What are you even getting out of this anymore?" Amy replied, "Free rent and good credit." That was it. That was the moment I knew this marriage wasn't broken, it was hollow. And I had been clinging to a ghost. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the ceiling and waited for sunrise. I knew what I had to do. The morning after her birthday, Amy was hungover. She moved slowly around the kitchen, groaning every time the sunlight hit her face. "Do we have coffee?" she asked without looking at me. "Already made you a cup," I said, placing it on the counter. She smiled weakly. "You're a lifesaver." I smiled back, but it didn't reach my eyes. We had a full Sunday ahead. Her parents were planning to stop by later to drop off a gift, and she wanted to clean the house before they arrived. But that day, I sat in silence. I just watched her move around the house, this person I thought I knew. I kept replaying her words in my head. Free rent and good credit. By noon, she noticed something was off. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I replied. "Just stinking." She raised an eyebrow. "About what?" I looked at her. Really looked. Then I said it. "About what it feels like to be the punchline in your life." Her face changed instantly, like a mask slipping. "What are you talking about?" "I know about the group chat, Amy." She blinked. Once. Twice. Then laughed nervously. "What group chat?" "Don't insult me," I said calmly. "The one where you and your friends mock me. The one where you complain about how boring I am. How stupid I am. Where you joke about using me for stability." Her hands started shaking. "How did you?" "Doesn't matter," I interrupted. "You're not denying it." Amy opened her mouth, then closed it. Her eyes darted around the room like she was looking for an escape. "It is not what you think. It was just jokes. We were just venting. Everyone does that." "No, Amy," I said. "Everyone doesn't do that. Everyone doesn't secretly humiliate the person who's supposed to be their partner. It was just a stupid chat. You've never done anything like that? You've never talked to your friends about me. I've talked about you, not against you." She fell silent. "And I heard what you said at the party," I added. Her face went pale. What did you hear?" "Free rent and good credit," I repeated. That shut her up completely. She sank into one of the kitchen chairs and covered her face with her hands. "It was a joke," she muttered. "I didn't mean it." "You meant it enough to say it to your sister." She looked up. Her eyes were red now. "So what now? You're leaving me." I sat down across from her, suddenly very calm. "I already talked to a lawyer. I'm filing this week." "No," she said instantly. "Wait, please, just wait. We can fix this." "We can't," I replied. "Because I don't trust you anymore. And you don't respect me." She started crying. The kind of crying that used to break my heart. But now, it just sounded like background noise. "Please," she said again. "I made a mistake." "No, Amy." "You repeated a mistake. For months. And you laughed while doing it." She stood up. "If you divorce me, I'll have nothing. You decided that the moment you turned me into a joke." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. Like the man who used to bring her flowers, the one she used to mock in a group chat, was gone. And maybe he was. "I'm going to stay at Nate's for a while," I said, standing up. "My lawyer will reach out." She stepped in front of me, blocking the door. "Please, I can delete the chat. I'll apologize to everyone. We can go to therapy." "You're not sorry," I cut in. "You're just afraid of the consequences." Then I stepped around her, grabbed my bag and walked out the door. I didn't look back when I left. I got in my car, drove to Nate's place, and sat in his driveway for almost 10 minutes before knocking. When he opened the door, I didn't have to explain anything. He gave me a long look, then just stepped aside and said, "Stay as long as you need." The next few days were weird, quiet, but not peaceful. My phone buzzed, constantly texts from Amy, missed calls, a few from her sister, even one from her mom. I didn't respond to any of them. I needed space to think, to breathe, to process the fact that my wife had been pretending for months, maybe longer. Nate worked nights, so I had a lot of time alone in his apartment. I started remembering little thin comments Amy made, moments that didn't seem important before. Like how she always shut her laptop the second I walked into the room, or how she'd laugh at her phone and never tell me why. How she'd stopped asking me about my day and barely shared anything about hers. The pieces fit together now, and the picture they made was ugly. On the third day, I met with the lawyer. He walked me through the process, told me what to expect. We talked about the finances, the lease, splitting assets. The conversation felt sterile, professional, but beneath it, I could feel this deep ache building in my chest. This wasn't just a breakup. It was the death of a future I thought I had. I had just finished going over the paperwork when I got a message from Amy's sister. "You should know Amy's freaking out. She's been calling everyone, trying to make it seem like you overreacted. Said you were unstable, that you'd been paranoid for months." My stomach dropped. I should have expected it. but it still hit hard. I texted back, "Thanks for letting me know." She replied almost immediately. I told her she was out of line. "I'm on your side in this." At least someone was. That night, Amy finally stopped texting, but she posted something on her Instagram story. A selfie, captioned, "Trying to stay strong when everything falls apart. Omec rozbitego serca #healing." She never mentioned my name, but the implication was clear. She was the victim. She was the one people should feel sorry for. In the comments, all her friends chiming in. "You deserve so much better. Some men just can't handle strong women." His loss, girl. I wanted to scream. Instead, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I sent her the screenshots of her own messages. From the group chat. From the party. From everything. No comment. Just the receipts. It took her less than 5 minutes to call me. "You went through my phone?" she demanded the second I answered. "You left it open," I said flatly. "That's a huge violation of privacy, you know. You mocking me for months behind my back is a bigger one." She was silent for a beat. "You're blowing this way out of proportion. You're gaslighting me," I said, and hung up. 5 minutes later, her sister texted me again. "She's spiraling. Said she's going to tell people you were abusive." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I replied, "If she does, I'll post everything." And that was it. I blocked Amy on everything. I changed my number. I gave the lawyer the green light to proceed. 3 weeks passed. I moved out of Nate's place and got a short-term rental near the office. It was small, just a studio with 2 thin walls and a leaky faucet, but it was mine. Quiet. Neutral. No ghosts in the corners. No memories pressed into the furniture. I hadn't seen Amy since the night I walked out, but that didn't mean she was gone. The thing about lies is they don't just sit there, they spread, whisper by whisper, version by version. And by the time they reach the 7th person, the story barely resembles what actually happened. I learned this the hard way. One afternoon, a coworker named Rachel stopped me in the break room. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry you're going through all that." I blinked. "All what?" She shifted uncomfortably. "Just the stuff Amy said." I didn't want to believe it. I told her she shouldn't be airing things like that in public. I felt my jaw tighten. "What exactly did she say?" Rachel hesitated. "That you got aggressive. That you scared her. That you'd been controlling for a long time." It was like someone kicked me in the ribs. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't even argue. I just said, "Thanks for telling me." And I walked out. That night, I posted everything. No names, no tagging. Just a long, careful post. Screenshots blurred just enough to protect identities, but real enough to show what happened. I told my side of the story, start to finish. I didn't add drama. Didn't embellish. I just laid out the truth, the messages, the betrayal, the lies afterward. Within hours, it spread. The comments flooded in. Some defending her, some calling me brave, others arguing over what really happened. That's the thing about the internet, people will pick a side no matter what. But at least now both sides were visible. And then I got a message. From her. Not on my phone, she was still blocked. This was through a burner account, I guess. The message was short. "Why are you doing this? You're ruining my life." I didn't reply. Not out of anger. Just, what was left to say? She made her choices. I made mine. The divorce finalized a month later. No alimony. No legal battles. Clean cut. Her sister sent me one last message after the paperwork was signed. She's moving to Chicago. Said she needs a fresh start. Don't worry, people here know the truth now. I stared at the text for a long time, then turned my phone off and stepped outside. It was spring now. Warm breeze. Clear sky. I took a long breath. And for the first time in what felt like forever, it didn't hurt. There wasn't some big cinematic moment. No swelling music. No sudden peace. Just me, alive, moving forward. And that was enough. If you like this video, please subscribe for more.